Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Wyoming's Alcoholic, and today I'm going to show you how to do a door lock actuator on a 99 GMC Suburban, Tahoe, 98, 97, 96. I think the actuator, if I remember reading correctly, I think it was the late 80s, clear up till 99. I think they changed them in 2000. So anyways, it should look similar to this. I don't know how they changed them or whatnot, but if yours falls within that range, this is what you're going to be looking for. So before I really get into this, when I diagnosed this actuator, I took this panel off because I'd already done the front door handles, and I thought, well, this rear door lock wasn't working, so I went ahead and took the panel off and went in there, and I found out that the rod, connected to the control handle here, the operation rod that goes to the lock, it was real stiff. So I shot some lube over here on the end and did a bunch of stuff, tried to work it free, and didn't work. And so I unhooked it from the actuator just to troubleshoot the actuator. And yeah, you could lock it and unlock it freely. The actuator is actually kind of stuck. So anyways, so I unhooked that, and I was able to at least manually unlock it and lock it till the part gets here. And in the meantime, the rod had actually come off the controls here and fallen back in there. So the door was closed, and the rod was unhooked, and the door was locked, because with the rod pushed all the way in, it's locked. With it pulled out, it's unlocked. So that means when the actuator is extended, it's unlocked. When the actuator is pulled in, it's locked. So so I had a closed door that was locked that I could not open. So what I ended up doing was I pulled this panel clip, which you have to do anyways to replace one of these. It has 4 clips. They all hook inwards, so you're going to want to be careful. I did break one. It's very easy to break one. Just do your best to be ginger and take your time and don't get impatient. That's the worst thing you can do with any mechanic's job, is get impatient. So and this isn't even that serious mechanic work, but so anyways, yeah, I popped this off, and I took my flashlight and I shined down in this crevice here, and I could see the rod. So what I did is I took the old coat hanger here, and I made a loop on the end of it. Made it real short handle, because it gets really annoying, because it gets hung in your seat and everything when you're trying to do it. And I reached in here and I hooked the end of that rod, pulled it back, and I could now open the door so that I can get the panel off easier. So anyways, a little bit of tip I wanted to show you before we really got into this. But there are a couple things you're going to need to do this. We're going to have to drill the rivets out. This is actually on the inside of the door frame. And some screws or bolts to replace it. Probably just some self-tappers are the best way to go. And this is the actuator I got through eBay for 15 bucks. So we'll see what this actually entails, or what kind of quality this has. I know 15 bucks is pretty cheap, but Napa wanted close to 60 bucks for one, and I always shop from Napa, but this time I kind of decided to go a different route to save a little money this time. So but sometimes you get what you pay for, so if I'm doing this again, we'll know why. Also, there's one thing I wanted to show you too. People will say that these clips and these door panels are impossible to not break when you're doing this work. If you can break these, I mean, surely you can break those, but you can do it without breaking them. And Pittsburgh Harbor Freight door panel clip tools, or body panel, I think they're called interior panel clip tools. I'm not sure what. I've always just called them door panel clip tool. So I don't know, call them what you want to call them, but these things will save you from breaking those little clips in there. And you got to get this. This is obviously really redundant to some people that have done this, but get this behind that clip on the metal door side, because the clip is actually going to stay in the in the door panel, the interior side of the panel. So you're going to want to get this behind that, between the metal and the clip, and you're going to pop it up, and then it's gonna come loose out of the door panel. So make sure you do that with patience, as I said before. Don't get a big rush. Make sure you get this sunk in there right. Use a flashlight, use this tool, and it's going to save you some headaches, because now your door isn't going to be well, your door panels aren't going to be loose, you know, banging around all the time when you're getting inside of your truck, and you're going to get pissed, and you're going to end up doing it again anyways. So just do it right the first time. You won't have any problems, or you won't end up spending more money, which is something I don't like doing. So anyway, so what we're going to have to do this, there is 2 screws here, and you already saw this panel here that I took off. So I pried the top, and then the edges, and then the bottom popped out. So, and then while you're here, this light's probably burned out. Every one of them was burned out on mine, so you might as well get that. I think it's a 93 bulb, but I don't remember. It'll tell you. Then we're gonna have to go through and we're gonna pop these panels, or these little panel clips, as we go all the way around this thing. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's get started. So I've got a 6mm here, or 7mm, I'm sorry, and I just threw it on a 3/8. You can go smaller if you want. One thing to tell you guys too is these screws up here, if you guys got kids, and most vehicles would have this problem, I guess, but you'll have a lot of, forgive the cough, I'm getting over a sickness here, but you'll have dirt and all kinds of grime around those screws. So it's going to be best if you can just take like a pick, O-ring pick, or even just a real small flat blade, or Phillips #1, and just clean around all those, and that'll get those edges cleaned out, so you can get a socket around it. And once it's loose, I just kind of leave them in there until I'm ready to get them both picked out. There's one, and there's 2. Okay, so here's that door panel tool. I found the larger one. We had bad snow here not too long ago, so I was using it to unclog the snow blower the other day, and I had kind of placed it in the wrong tool drawer. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start at the top here. I'm going to get my flashlight out, my pin light here, stream light, and actually I'm going to start down here in this corner. So I kind of just, this panel is going to be tight, but I kind of pry back a little bit, because I know there's one right here in the corner. And I'll take and I'll locate it first. I see the bump it's in right here, and I know that there's a, well, actually I didn't explain this, but right now I'm looking at there's a plastic insert that actually holds these clips in, and that's what I'm looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that all the way out. So when you go to find these, there's little plastic inserts that they go in too. But you just take this tool and you find that divot that's in, and you work this guy to it, and you pop them out just like that. And you're going to have to probably redo a couple, because as you do this, they want to keep coming back, popping in, but you'll win the battle eventually. That clip just came off, but it didn't break. It just came out of the slot. Must have been when they put it back on. There's one on that corner. Okay, and these have been taken off a couple times, so yours may not be as easy, especially if it's never been taken off. When you come up here, there's one here, and you can kind of see these divots, but see, yeah, mine are getting to where you can just pull them off almost. There's one more there. I think I've got all of them free. I do. So after you got all the panels free, or the panel clips free, you got the 2 screws out, you want to take this whole panel, kind of lift out, and go up with it. And when you do that, you're going to see this little light here I was explaining to you, and it's going to pop out of there every time. You got your speakers, and you got your window controls on the rear door. On the front door you also have other people's window controls. So it's a little different, but again, you can sit here and try to fight this. Myself, I'm just going to remove these clips. Press the front tab here. Just like that. And this guy has a tab on that side as well. Just going to use these to depress it here. Boom. Now I can just get this out of the way. Oh, also, the clip I was telling you about that stayed behind right here. Oh, there you go. So, apparently this time the grommet broke, but not a lot I could have done there, I don't think. Maybe so. Maybe I'm at fault. But they just kind of, as you can see, they clip into these, so you can take them out and put them in. And that's all that happened. It didn't get set in right. But the grommet clip or whatever that goes in here isn't there anymore anyways. That one did break just now. So when you get the door panel off, you're going to have all this plastic. Okay, so the next step is to drill these 2 rivets out here. You're going to replace them with, it's about a 7/8 inch metric coarse thread bolt. I'm not sure what size, but I have a metric bolt bin, and I happen to find one that fitted. It wasn't marked. So anyways, so we're going to drill this out. These rivets here. One thing to be careful of too is that your window, my window is currently down on here, so it might be easier to have your window up. I'll let you know how that goes for me here in a minute, but at least with drilling, you know, you don't want to send this into your window and break your window. Okay, so what I ended up having to do, of course you saw me drill the rivets out, but these wires, this is the power control wire to this guy, and it has a clip here, and then it has one of these plastic clips here, and I had to pop it out from the back here, and I manipulated the wire around the bars, and this dropped down on this side, and it channeled right down through there. So I didn't even have to do that, I just did it for me. But and then here's a clip right here. You depress that to take this guy off, I think. Yep, sure enough. So here's the old actuator right here. Doesn't have the dust boot cover. I'll probably be putting that on, I suppose. I ended up putting that old dust boot on this. Don't know if it's going to make a whole lot of difference, but I did it anyways. So, and I went ahead and tested the new actuator. So that's lock. Lock is pulled all the way in, and unlock is pushed out, as I had thought. So let's go ahead and put it in lock position. Notice this though. The actuator have different bracketing. So I tried to shove this in there already, just to get a fit before I started recording, and it won't go. So what I have to do is either put this bracket on there, which looks like I can do it, and drill those holes out for those bolts that I made and put these clips on, or I can just use that bracket, which is probably what I'll do, is just use that bracket. So I'm going to swap these. Okay, so to swap the brackets, because I wanted the same height right in there so it wasn't too high. Obviously the bracket wasn't on there the same way. It's the same part, but maybe that's why it's 15 bucks. So I actually had to use the old bracket. I had to drill this hole out just a little bit so that it'd fit on this notch correctly. And now it'll work. But I also had to take all the bolts out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and fit this new one. Fabbed the old bracket onto the new part. I did that by drilling out these holes to fit the bolts that I had that also fit the clips that were on this one, and B, by drilling out this hole a little bit so that the old bracket could line up. For some reason this one was mounted like this. I don't know if that was from the factory a mistake, or if it's just different applications mount on this bracket differently. Again, the same part for many different vehicles. So anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and scoot this wire back over, fish this up here. Okay, and you're going to kind of see there's this rod that I was telling you about earlier is down in this door jamb. I can't zoom in very well inside the door, it's a problem, but it's got, try to get my finger down there. It's this guy, and he needs to go in there. So it might be a good idea to stab that before you go any further when you're starting to set this back up, to put a screw in it or a bolt to mount it. Okay, now I've got the clips on that bracket. I forgot to do that, so I had to fish them in there. The wire's set, the bracket's near the holes there, so I'm going to go back. I'm going to take this Tech medium thread lock. I'm going to put just a dab on each of these screws or bolts. That bolt. And this bolt. Okay. Now, drilled the truck door panel, or the door frame out a little bit here. So these should fit in there. Okay guys, sorry, I had to switch cameras. So now that I got this bolted in with thread lock, I got that wire hooked up, I've tested it, I've got the cable and everything, or the rod hooked up in there. It's all working good. So now all we have to do, I replaced this while I was in here because this wasn't right on mine, but when you repair these door handles, you have to take this, and that's a rivet, you got to drill it out like we did those, and then this mechanism actually just slides over. You pull it out, just unhook the lock-op rod, and that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, so now that we're at this point, all I need to do is take my wire and reattach the lock there. Not really the lock, more like the peg or whatnot. And then reattach that clip. Reattach this clip. Wire's back where it should be. This stuff should be a little stickier than it is, but it's not. Mine's worn out and been off a time or two. This goes No, it doesn't go through there. I left that in there. Sorry about all that, fellas. Okay. So, we got all that. Our clips are in place. We need to hook the wires back up to the speakers and to the window control. Speaker. Window control. And then, one thing you guys need to remember, because this is going to happen every time, that little light. Get it locked into that thing before you close this up. Because it's going to pop out just like it did right there. It's kind of trifling, you know what. The clips on those wear out, I think. Not everything's plastic that's a clip. But, yeah, so I got that hooked up. I'm going to take and rehook the top of the panel into the tracking up here. Okay, got that started. My light's still in. So what I'm going to carefully do is go around and line these pigs up. If you get one that's totally out of alignment and you go to snap them in, you can't get the other ones in because they're sideways, and now they're going to miss the hole and everything else. So this guy's going to have a little problem. You just go through, line them up one at a time before you go for final installation here. I just go through, get them in. So that's it. Then you take this cover, snap it on there. Like so. Handle still works. Lock still works. This guy goes over here. Snaps right in. Also, folks, after you get all this clipped in, you verify everything's working still. You don't want to forget your 2 bolts here. Remember, they go right in the top. There she sinks. Anyways, don't forget that step, and after you get that done, you are finished. As always, have a good day and stay classy, Wyoming.